Hi, I'm Gary Smith. My discussion thread responds to the question, who was responsible for the First World War? I'm using two secondary source books, one of which is Catastrophe, 1914. Europe Goes to War. It's written by an English journalist, Mac Hastings. The second book is July 1914, Countdown to War, is written by Sean McMeekins. In our class reading this week, chapter 2 of Burgham's book, Europe in the End of Two World Wars, we read about Fritz Fischer. He's a German that fought in the Wehrmacht in the Second World War. He maintained that Germany should bear the exclusive responsibility for the July crisis of 1914, and then of course, World War I. Mac Hastings is, of course, the author of this book, supports Fischer's contention that Germany was responsible for the crisis of 1914, and then, of course, the follow-up World War I. Hastings added that Fischer wrote a book entitled Germany's Aims in the First World War, in which he argued that Germany must bear the burden of guilt for World War I, and Hastings agrees. Hastings indicates that he has written a number of books about the Second World War. However, this is his first full-length work on the First World War. Hastings wrote that he was an assistant researcher on BBC's 26 series titled The Great War. He said he interviewed and corresponded with many of combat veterans from the First World War, which of course gave him insight about combat and life in the trenches. More than the other major participants in the First World War, Germany was perhaps the most nationalistic in its outlook and national behavior. Sean McMeekin, in his book July 1914, included a chapter for each day of July 1914. In the epilogue at the end of his book, he wrote about the question of responsibility for the war. McMeekin is more nuanced regarding Germany's blame or responsibility. He does not present the interpretation that Germany was primarily to blame for the war. He argues that Russia and France, not Germany, made key decisions that escalated the Austria-Serbia conflict. He expressed that the assassination plotters bear ultimate responsibility, of course, for provoking the July 1914 crisis by murdering Archduke Franz Ferdinand. However, Austria bears guilt by using the Sarajevo murder as a pretext for a punitive war against Serbia. The German sin was serious by giving Austria a blank check against Serbia, since Austria would not have gotten the war against Serbia without Germany going along. And the Germans were responsible for invading France by way of Belgium, arising out of the Schlieffen Plan. There was no pullback after that. Thank you very much.